Everyone in that ballroom was holding their breath. They just didn't know why yet. A crystal chandelier shimmered above a sea of silk dresses and tailored suits. Champagne glasses clinked softly, and cameras flashed from every angle. This was one of the most exclusive charity galas of the year, a night where power, wealth, and image mattered more than truth. And standing near the edge of it all was a young black African waitress, her hands steady around a silver tray. Her face calm despite the weight of the room pressing down on her. No one noticed her, not until the humiliation began, because across the room, walking with confidence that came from a lifetime of privilege, was the billionaire's daughter. Beautiful, polished, untouchable. And in just a few moments, she would say something that would silence the entire gala, unaware that the woman she was about to break down was the very person who gave her life, but that truth would come later. For now, the music played, the lights glowed, and the story quietly began. The waitress moved carefully between guests, offering drinks with a soft smile. She had done this kind of work for years. Not because it defined her worth, but because it paid the bills. Her uniform was simple, her posture dignified, her presence almost invisible to the people who mattered most in that room. Almost. At the center of attention stood Eliza Hart, the daughter of one of the most powerful men in the country. Cameras followed her movements. People leaned in when she spoke. Every laugh she made seemed rehearsed for an audience. She had grown up surrounded by luxury, praise, and the unshakable belief that she was meant to be admired. Tonight, she was in a mood. The gala was meant to celebrate her father's foundation, but Eliza had other expectations. She wanted perfection. She wanted attention. And most of all, she wanted control. When the waitress approached her group with a tray of drinks, Eliza barely looked up. "Watch it," she snapped sharply, even though the tray hadn't touched a thing. "I'm sorry," the waitress said quietly, her voice calm, respectful. Eliza glanced at her then. Really looked. Her eyes flicked over the uniform, the dark skin, the simple presence. Something about it annoyed her. "Do you know how much this dress costs?" Eliza asked loudly, her voice carrying farther than necessary. A few people nearby turned. "No, miss," the waitress replied softly. "Of course you don't," Eliza said with a laugh that wasn't kind. "People like you never do." The room shifted. A few smiles faded. Someone cleared their throat. But no one spoke. The waitress lowered her eyes slightly, not in shame, but in restraint. "Would you like a drink, miss?" Eliza scoffed. "I'd, like you to learn how to stay invisible." The words landed hard. A man beside Eliza chuckled nervously. Someone else looked away. The music seemed suddenly too loud, too thin, too fake. The waitress stood still for a moment. Not frozen, grounded. Years of experience had taught her that reacting only fed cruelty. "I'll move along," she said gently, but Eliza wasn't finished. "Actually," she added, raising her voice just enough, "it's unbelievable how they let anyone work these events now. No class, no presence, just uniforms and silence." This time, more people heard. The waitress felt it then, not anger, something deeper. A familiar ache she had learned to live with long ago. But she didn't argue. She didn't defend herself. She simply nodded and turned away. Eliza watched her go, satisfied. What she didn't know was that the woman she had just humiliated had once rocked her to sleep, had once gone hungry so Eliza could eat, had once signed papers with shaking hands, believing she was doing the right thing, years ago. Before the money, before the spotlight, before the name Hart meant power, there had been a choice. A young woman, alone, pregnant, and desperate, had been told her child would have a better life elsewhere. She never imagined this one. Back in the present, the waitress moved toward the service area, her hands still steady, her breathing controlled. Another staff member whispered, "Are you okay?" She nodded. "I'm fine," and she was. Because she hadn't come here expecting kindness. She had come prepared for endurance. Across the room, Eliza was still talking, still laughing, still performing. She had no idea why her chest felt slightly tight. No idea why something about that woman's eyes had lingered longer than expected. Later that evening, As speeches began and the crowd gathered near the stage, the waitress was instructed to assist near the front. She found herself standing just a few steps away from Eliza again. This time, Eliza noticed. Their eyes met briefly, and for a split second, something passed between them. Recognition without understanding. Familiarity without memory. Eliza frowned slightly, then dismissed it. "Excuse me," she said sharply. "You're blocking the view." The waitress stepped aside without a word. The billionaire took the stage, smiling proudly as he spoke about legacy, compassion, and giving back. The audience applauded. Eliza beamed. The waitress listened quietly. Legacy, compassion, giving back. Words had a strange way of sounding different depending on where you stood. As the applause grew, the waitress felt a calm settle over her. Not sadness, not regret, acceptance. She hadn't planned to speak tonight. She hadn't planned to be seen, but fate, it seemed, had other plans because, before the night was over, one question would be asked. One truth would surface. And Eliza's world, built on privilege and ignorance, would crack in ways she never expected, and when that moment came, the humiliation she had so easily given would return to her. Not with cruelty, but with truth, and that truth would change everything. But that is where part 2 begins. The applause faded, and the music swelled again, but something in the air had shifted, not enough for people to notice. Not yet, just enough for the truth to start pressing its way to the surface. Eliza Hart stood near the stage, champagne glass in hand, smiling as guests congratulated her father. Compliments flowed easily tonight. About the foundation. About her dress. About her future. She accepted them all like they were owed to her, but her eyes kept drifting. Back to the waitress. The woman stood a few steps away, listening to the speeches. With quiet attention, her posture straight, her expression unreadable. There was something unsettling about her calm. Eliza couldn't explain it. She had humiliated plenty of people before. Usually they shrank, they rushed away. They disappeared. This woman hadn't. Eliza felt irritation rise again. She turned to a friend and whispered, "Why is she still standing there?" Her friend shrugged. "She's staff." "Exactly," Eliza muttered. As the billionaire stepped down from the stage, guests surged forward to greet him. Eliza followed, basking in reflected admiration. The waitress was instructed to assist near the VIP area, and once again, fate placed them in the same orbit. Eliza reached for another drink, but the tray wasn't where she expected it to be. "Excuse me," she snapped, sharper than necessary. The waitress turned. "Yes, miss." That voice again, calm, steady, too familiar. "You were supposed to be here," Eliza said. "Do you understand instructions?" "I do," the waitress replied gently. "I was asked to assist there first." Eliza laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. "Of course you were." A nearby guest glanced between them, uncomfortable. Eliza leaned closer, lowering her voice, but not enough. "You should be grateful to even be in a room like this." The waitress met her gaze. "I am grateful," she said. "Just not for the reasons you think." That stopped Eliza cold. What's that supposed to mean? "It means," the waitress said calmly, "that rooms don't define people. Choices do." Eliza stared at her, stunned by the audacity. Her chest tightened. "You're crossing a line." The waitress nodded once. "I won't cross it again." She turned away. Eliza felt heat rush to her face. Around them, conversations had dipped. People pretended not to listen, but they were. How dare she, Eliza whispered to herself, and yet a strange discomfort lingered. Not anger. Something closer to confusion. Minutes later, as dessert was served, Eliza's father approached the service area to thank the staff. He stopped mid-sentence when his eyes landed on the waitress. The smile on his face faltered, just for a moment, too. Brief for most people to notice, but Eliza saw it. Her father stared at the woman as if seeing a ghost. His mouth opened slightly, then closed. His hand tightened around his glass. "Dad?" Eliza whispered. "What is it?" He didn't answer immediately. The waitress noticed him too. Her breath caught, just slightly. Her eyes softened. Something deep and old stirred behind them. The billionaire cleared his throat. "Excuse me," he said to the staff manager. "Who is she?" The manager replied, "She's temporary staff for tonight, sir." Very professional. The billionaire nodded slowly, eyes never leaving the woman. Her name? Amara, the manager said. Amara. The name echoed in his mind like a door creaking. Open. Eliza frowned. Dad, what's going on? He shook his head. Nothing, just tired. But his gaze followed Amara as she moved away. Eliza watched this exchange, her irritation shifting into something else, suspicion, curiosity, unease. Later, in a quieter corner of the gala, Eliza found herself alone with the waitress again. She didn't know why she approached her. Maybe she wanted control back. Maybe she wanted answers. "You?" Eliza said. "What's your name?" "Amara," the woman replied. Eliza hesitated. "How long have you been doing this kind of work?" "Long." "Enough," Amara said. "Where are you from?" "Here," she replied simply. Eliza scoffed. "That's vague." "Some truths don't need details," Amara said. Eliza felt that tightening in her chest again. "You talk like you think you're better than me." Amara shook her head slowly. "No, I talk like I know who I am." Those words landed harder than any insult. Eliza laughed nervously. "You don't know anything about me." Amara looked at her then, really looked at her. The curve of her face, the shape of her eyes, the familiar tilt of her chin. "I know more than you realize," she said softly. Eliza felt a chill crawl up her spine. "What is that supposed to mean?" "Before Amara could answer, a voice interrupted. "Eliza." Her father stood behind her, his expression unreadable. "Yes, Dad? We need to talk," he said. His eyes flicked to Amara, then back to Eliza. Privately, Eliza looked between them, confused. "About what?" he swallowed. "About the past." Amara closed her eyes for a brief second. The music swelled again. Guests laughed. Glasses clinked, but the room felt smaller now. Heavier. Eliza followed her father toward a quiet hallway, her heart pounding. She glanced back once, just in time to see Amara watching her, not with anger, not with resentment, but with a sadness that felt ancient. And in that moment, Eliza felt it, a truth pressing against the edges of her reality. Something was wrong, something had always been wrong, and whatever it was about to come out, because the lie Eliza had lived her entire life was cracking, and the woman she had humiliated was holding the missing piece. What happens when the truth finally breaks through the silence? The hallway felt colder than the ballroom, quieter too, like the building itself was holding its breath. Eliza followed her father, heels clicking against the marble floor, her mind racing. He stopped near a tall window overlooking the city. Lights glittering like nothing in the world could possibly be wrong. He didn't turn around right away. "Eliza," he said slowly, "there are things I should have told you a long time ago." She folded her arms. "You're scaring me." "Is this about that waitress?" At the word he finally turned. His face looked older than she'd ever seen it. Not the powerful billionaire everyone admired tonight. Just a man weighed down by memory. "Yes," he said quietly. "It's about her." Eliza laughed once, sharp and disbelieving. "Dad, she's just staff. She was rude to me." "She wasn't rude," he replied. "She was restrained." That answer unsettled her more than anger would have. "You're defending her?" "I'm telling you the truth," he said. "Something I've avoided for years." Eliza shook her head. "I don't understand." He took a deep breath, the kind people take before diving underwater. "Before I met your mother, before the company, before all of this, there was someone else." Eliza felt her stomach drop. "What are you saying?" "I was young," he continued. "Ambitious. Afraid of being small. I fell in love with a woman who had nothing but strength and dignity. She believed in me when no one else did." Images flashed through Eliza's mind of the waitress's calm eyes, her steady voice. "No," Eliza whispered. "That's not possible. She was pregnant," he said, "with you." The world tilted. Eliza staggered back a step, laughing again, louder now, brittle. "That's insane." "My mother is the woman who raised you," he said gently. "And she loved you, but she isn't the woman who gave birth to you." Eliza's ears rang. "You're lying. I wish I were," he said. I let fear make my choices. I chose reputation over love. I paid her to disappear. I told myself it was mercy. Tears burned Eliza's eyes. You're saying that waitress is your mother? He said. Silence crashed down between them. No, Eliza said, shaking her head violently. You're wrong. She's nothing like me. He looked at her with sadness. She's exactly like you. That's why I recognized her. The eyes, the strength, I've seen them every day of your life. Eliza felt something inside her break. Open. Memories rewound in her mind, the way she never quite fit into her social circles, the constant pressure to prove herself, the anger she carried without knowing why. I humiliated her, Eliza whispered. I treated her like she was. Beneath me, her father closed his eyes. And she still showed grace. Eliza's chest tightened painfully. Shame washed over her, heavy and suffocating. Where is she now? Eliza asked. Before he could answer, footsteps echoed behind them. I'm here. They both turned. Amara stood at the end of the hallway, hands clasped, her expression calm, but her eyes shimmering with emotion. I didn't mean to overhear, she said softly, but some truths don't stay hidden. Eliza stared at her. Up close, the resemblance was undeniable. The same jawline, the same intensity in the eyes. You're lying, Eliza said weakly, though her voice lacked conviction. Amara shook her head. I never wanted this moment to come like this. I didn't come tonight to be recognized. I came because the past doesn't hurt anymore. Eliza's voice cracked. Then why are you here? Amara met her gaze. Because forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, it means facing. Tears spilled down Eliza's cheeks. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I know, Amara said gently. And that's why I didn't stop you. I wanted you to see who you were becoming before it was too late. Eliza broke down then, the walls she'd built collapsing in seconds. I'm so sorry, she sobbed. For everything. Amara stepped forward slowly, hesitating, then placed a hand on Eliza's shoulder. The touch sent a wave of warmth through her, unfamiliar but deeply right. I didn't need your apology, Amara said. I needed your awareness. Eliza looked up. Can you ever forgive me? Amara smiled faintly, tears in her own eyes. I already have. Behind them, the sounds of the gala filtered faintly into the hallway. Laughter, music, celebration. All of it suddenly meaningless. Eliza turned to her father, anger and grief mixing in her chest. You took everything from her. He nodded, tears finally falling. And I can never undo that, but I can stop running. Eliza wiped her face and took a shaky breath. Then start by telling the truth. To everyone. Not tonight, but someday. He nodded. I will. Amara released Eliza's shoulder and stepped back. I don't want anything from you, she said to him. Not money, not apologies. I lived. I survived. I raised myself back up, double quotes. Eliza reached out, grabbing Amara's hand. Please. Don't disappear again. Amara squeezed her hand gently. I won't, but we'll move at your pace. They stood there, mother and daughter, bound by blood and years of silence, finally facing each other without masks. Later that night, as the gala continued unaware, Eliza walked back into the ballroom changed. The arrogance was gone. In its place was humility, heavy but honest. She watched the staff move through the room, unseen, unthanked, and for the first time, she truly saw them. Power didn't make people valuable. Character did, and sometimes the person you try hardest to humiliate is the one who holds the truth. That can save you. That night didn't erase the past, but it rewrote the future, because a billionaire's daughter learned too late that dignity can't be inherited. It has to be earned.